had some information to share with you a little bit here about our Rebuilding for Learning Summit. That piece that's going to be happening between now and the end of the school day here and up till 4 o'clock this afternoon. But I think what I'm going to do is I will email that out to folks. We've got some great things. We've been doing this for 7 years, and I do want to share with you some of the information that we have and the successes that have come out of this. We're working to build this trampoline, a really tight fabric of connections in our community organizations. That's all the work that we're doing. And for the second year in a row, we've brought our entire staff together. It used to be a group of maybe 125, 150 people, and now we have over 1,000 people who will be involved in this work here this afternoon. And so, I get the honor of introducing our keynote speaker today, Derek Clark. Derek's life is one of resilience and redemption. As a child, he suffered unthinkable child abuse, abandonment, and emotional distress before being turned over to the psychiatric hospital at age 5. His 13 years in the San Francisco Bay Area foster care system reflected an early life of humiliation, aggression, emotional distress, overwhelming anxiety, and being wrongfully labeled. Eventually, with the help of loving foster parents and a fantastic social worker, he defied the artificial limitations that were imposed upon him. Derek knows firsthand how to cope with adversity and overcoming hardship. His past has never held him back from accomplishing what he sets his heart out to do. Derek is an inspiring speaker. He's also an author. He's recently become a viral video sensation for his Rapping Dad videos, which have had over 200 million views. He's also been featured on CNN Headline News, the Steve Harvey TV show, and many other TV shows around the world. He's the author of 7 books, including Disable the Label, Never Limit Your Life, and the I Will Never Give Up book series. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Rebuilding for Learning Committee, it's my pleasure to welcome Derek Clark.
What's up, Wisconsin? It's great to be here today and to share a message of resilience, a message of redemption, and to let you know that you make a difference. See, you didn't get in this career to be rich. You didn't get in here to, I'm going to make a ton of money. It's all about the income. No, you got in this because it's not about the income, it's about the outcome. And that's why I'm here today, is to show you the end of the movie of what can happen. Now, you're starting your school year, and maybe some of you are already burnt out by now. Anxiety sets in, all that stuff. And you know, when somebody tells me they're burnt out, you know what that tells me? Is they were on fire at one point. And I'm here to get your fire back. Thank you. You get to see the end of the movie by me standing here, but the beginning of the movie was a really rough time. You never know what goes on in people's homes. And then they come into your room, and they act out, and they got behavioral issues, and they're upset at you, and sometimes it's a lot easier to be angry at you than to tell you that I'm hurt. So we lash out. Then it's up to you on how you're going to respond to the situation, because how you respond will determine the success in that kid. How I came in this world is a crazy story. In my state records, it shows that I was brutalized prenatally and as the first few years of my life, and that my mother was sexually abused by men in her past. When I met my mom 25 years later after she abandoned me, one of the first things that I said to her was, "Am I a product of rape?" And she says, "Oh, we're not going to talk about that, Derek." And I go, "I want to know." She goes, "I don't want to talk about that, Derek." And I go, "Because you don't want to talk about it tells me everything." And she says, "You want to know something? I'll tell you something. Yeah, your dad forced himself on me. And I got pregnant. When I told your dad that I was pregnant with you, he says, you better go get an abortion. You better go kill that kid. Because if you don't kill the kid, I'll kill the kid myself." So at 3 months, no abortion. 6 months, no abortion. 7 months pregnant. You got a nice bump there at 7 months. And my mom is waitressing at a restaurant in San Diego, California, doing her job, waiting tables, and I'm enjoying myself, swimming in the amniotic fluid of my mother's womb, just enjoying. I try to visualize that, right? Because what's about to happen is crazy. My 6'5" dad comes into that restaurant in a fit of rage, grabs my mother by her long blonde hair, whiplashes her head with her hair to the head to the floor, pulls her back into the kitchen, and continues to stomp on her stomach over and over again, kicking her, punching her. But I lived. I lived. Thank you. And I get so many messages, 2 common messages that people send to me on my social media and emails is, number 1, will you be my dad? Because of the whole rapping dad thing, right? Number 2 is, Derek, I'm done with this life. I'm cutting. I'm ready to commit suicide, or I just overdosed and I made it through this. And they tell me all this stuff that they're ready to give up. And then they ask me, how'd you do, Derek? How'd you do it? Even when I was speaking in Milwaukee a couple years ago for the FBLA conference, Future Business Leaders of America, Phi Beta Lambda. These are the cream de la cream, 4.2, 4.4 GPAs. And at the end of that event, people sending me messages saying, Derek, I'm ready to kill myself. And they got the high numbers. And I always tell them this: the meaning of life is to give your life meaning. I flip it on them. Every one of you is here today because you have meaning in your life. You have something to offer this world, to offer these children, to save the little Dereks, the Derekas of the world. But you never know what goes on in a home. The kids come to school. Some are sad, some are hyper, some are angry, some are the comedians, masking something probably, if they got some behavioral issues. Let me tell you what went on in my home. I'm just going to share one story. I have lots of stories. I have scars all over me from brutal child abuse. We've lived in a park in El Cajon, California with other homeless people. We've lived in a garage, one-car garage. I have an alcoholic dad, a mom that likes to do a lot of stuff. And I got expelled out of kindergarten because severe behavioral issues. Biting, punching, kicking the teachers, the assistant teacher, the students, trying to control them. And I am in my front yard after being expelled. Not suspended, expelled. And my favorite word at 4, 5, 10, 12, 15, 18, 25, 32 years old was the F word. Not fun and family. And maybe some of the youth have said that to you, but it was not uncommon for me to say it to many people, F you. Even at a young age, all the way till I was like almost 18 years old, telling authority. Well, my mom told me to come inside and clean up, and I say F you to my mom. And she says, oh, you will never say that again to me, ever. And she brings me in the house, and I'm thinking I'm going to get a whooping, a spanking. But no. She takes this little kid right here. That cute little kid. I don't know what happened to me now, but back then I was cute. She took this little kid, 5 years old, and dragged me up the stairs. And halfway up the stairs, I'm holding onto the black iron banister, and I look downstairs in the kitchen and the living room area, and I see yellow Coors beer cans everywhere. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, my mom is drunk. She takes me upstairs, throws me in the bathroom, kicks the door shut, turns on the hot water to the sink. She proceeds to tell me how bad of a kid I am. That I wish I never had you, Derek. That you're just like your dad. And all I see is steam coming up from the sink. I have no idea what's about to happen. My mom says I'm the devil. You're the devil, Derek. You're the devil. And she takes my left little hand, holds it under that hot water. As I scream for my life, screaming, no, Mom, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And she's holding me under that water by my wrist. And then she lets me go. And I'm holding my hand, and I look in the mirror and see the reflection of the most angriest person I've ever seen. My mom, who's supposed to love me, who's supposed to guide me, who's supposed to protect me. And then my mom grabs my left little hand again in a fit of rage and holds it under that hot water a second time as I screamed for my life, 5 years old. It felt like eternity. And I'll never forget this image. And when she finally let go of my hand, all the skin came off in one big clump into the sink. I'll never forget that. But you know what's even crazier than that? Yeah, she burned my hand. But she burned into my heart, into my spirit, into my mind, into my soul, that I was a bad kid, that I had no value. She bandaged me up. And a few months later, her and my stepdad loaded me up in a car. We ended up at this big building. And my mom and my stepdad are talking to a few people, and then a guy in a white coat says, Derek, come with me. And I look at my mom, and I don't ever remember my mom saying, I love you to me. I don't ever remember my mom saying, I'm coming back for you, Derek. You just need a little help. She left and never came back. She abandoned me at a psychiatric hospital at 5 years old. If you've ever been in a psychiatric facility, you get a lot of tests done on you, especially if you're a kid. And I had to fight in court to get a copy of what I'm going to share with you. My neurological evaluations, my speech and language evaluations, my psychiatric evaluations, brain scans, psychological exams. And I'm going to overwhelm you for the next few minutes of the labels that I had, their diagnosis, and kind of a background. I speak to a lot of at-risk youth. They call them at-risk, high risk. I was recently speaking at a juvenile facility. And I have it on tape. I should put it in my PowerPoint at some point, but I have it on video. They're in their orange and yellow jumpsuits. Some of them have been in there for 13 times in juvie. And they look at me, they kind of analyze me when I come in, then they find out I'm rapping dad and all that stuff, so then they lighten up. But I say this, even on film, I said, they call you at risk. They call you high risk. You know what I call you? I call you full of potential youth. And you should see all their faces light up and say, wow, nobody's ever said that to me. Because I'm a big believer that words are very powerful. You'll find out in a little bit why. But our words can build up a child or defeat a child. So I challenge you, next time you get these at-risk youth coming at you, they're full of potential youth, because I was one of them. In fact, when I speak at juvenile facilities, some of the correctional officers there, COs, they were once in juvie when they were teenagers. And then they found out, well, I want to give back. They are full of potential. You never limit the potential of a child. The only time you turn your back on a child, the only time you turn your back on a child is for them to hop on for a horsey ride. That's the only time. Thank you. You never give up on a child. If that's one thing we have in common, one thing is we were all once children. So where is our compassion? So here I go. I'm going to overwhelm you for a few minutes in some of my reports. Derek's background includes extreme physical and economical impoverishment during infancy and a father that brutalized Derek and his mother during the same period. Parents were unable to control Derek. Derek's father was an alcoholic. Stepdad was an abused child and is known to be very strict with children. I feel like they're giving him an out right there. I speak for a lot of LA law enforcement. I speak for a U.S. Attorney General's conference, to federal probation, Department of Corrections, Federal Bureau of Prisons. And to me, that is a cop-out. It's a choice to beat your kid. It's a choice to run in front of a car. It's a choice to put your hand in a fire. They won't do it more than once. But the number one killer of kids are their parents. So I never liked that statement. They were giving him an out. Father is an institution for the criminally insane. They had to find my dad. They found him at Folsom State Prison. Inmate number 58520 at Folsom State Prison for a string of armed robberies from Arizona to California. Plus they were pinning a murder charge on him. Because my dad would always say to my mom and other people, if you cross me, I'll break your neck. I learned it in prison. I know how to break necks. Well, years later, they found his ex-girlfriend in a ditch, dead because of a broken neck. Mother and stepfather do not want to go to therapy and decline parent classes. They feel it's Derek's problem and not theirs. I wish I had known that growing up in the foster care system, because even though they never visit me, I might get a letter once a year that says, we miss you, we love you. And as a kid and a teenager, you hold on to those words. You hold on. They're coming back. And the average time in foster care is 15 months. I'm a lifer, basically, till I aged out. But when you're in foster homes, other foster kids get visits from their parents and from their biological parents, and maybe they go to the park or McDonald's or go to the county building for supervised visits or something. But I never got the visit. And it made me angrier and angrier. And if I had known that we don't really want Derek back, I might have built some connections and some relationships. Mother's personal background consists of extreme brutalization by men in her past, and so it was with my grandma, and so it will be with my sister. Generational. Mother expressed concerns that Derek's behavior problems were a reflection of innate characteristics inherited from his natural father. Gross motor problems due to abuse. So 6 years old, I cannot run. 6 years old, I cannot walk up and down stairs by myself. I have been kept in the closet a lot of bad things because of trauma. So at 7 years old, I learned to run. And my foster parents put me in soccer because they believed in an immersion sport. In order for him to run, we got to just put him in a running sport. And I sucked for quite a while until I start to learn how to run, get those skills. Special class for severely emotionally disturbed children. The minor must be supervised closely at all times. There is indication that the boy might be overtly psychotic. The child laughs inappropriately and shows much anxiety. I still laugh inappropriately. I tell my wife it's spontaneous immaturity. The boy acts out against anyone around him. Derek is emotionally disturbed. Derek talks frequently about guns, knives, and hurting others. If you asked me at 5 years old, 10 years old, 15 years old, what I wanted to be in life, I would tell you, I want to be a Hell's Angel. It was like bred in me or something. Like I knew I was supposed to be a Hell's Angel. I started a gang in elementary school called the Hells Angel Juniors. There was some reason why I needed to be a Hells Angel or something. And, I have 2 teenagers, a 16 and a 14-year-old. And I have 4 kids, but I ask my kids, what do you want to be in life? And they'll tell me, electrician, engineer, this and that, right? But my foster parents would ask me, Derek, what do you want to be in life? Oh, Mom, Hells Angel. So 15 years old, they're getting a little scared. And if you see my record, you'll understand. But the thing was, my mom was smart. My foster mom was smart because even though I was 15 years old, because of the trauma, I was really emotionally probably 11 years old, somewhere in there. And she said to me like this, okay, Derek, you're scaring me. Your dad's in prison. Oh, I know. Okay, you're scaring me. Have you ever thought about not becoming a Hells Angel? No, Mom, I'm going to be a Hells Angel. Well, have you ever thought about being an FBI agent or a police officer? Why? Well, they're undercover sometimes and they get to do bad stuff, but they're working for the good guy. And I'm like, and they don't go to jail. Okay, so they can do bad stuff, but really for the good guy, undercover. And I go like this, oh, and I don't go to jail? Yeah, you don't go to jail. Oh, okay, Mom, I'll be a FBI agent or a police officer, right? So being able to switch that mindset, right? Derek is unable to get along with anyone. School placement should be an educationally handicapped program. Expelled from kindergarten because of severe behavioral issues. Encopretic and inuretic behavior. Anybody know what that is? All right, I see a few hands. Good thing you're not eating right now. Encopretic is your feces. Inuretic is your urine. It is common for those that have gone through brutal child abuse to take our feces and our urine and get back at you. Because I can't get back at you fighting you, so I'm going to take my own bodily fluids and get back at you. So it was not uncommon for me till about 10 years old to poop on your bed, smeared on your bed, smeared under your bed, pee in jewelry boxes, pee in purses, smeared on the clothes in your closet. Now, I'm cured now. It's not like if my wife makes me mad, I'm going to go poop in her purse. But my foster mom will tell you, back in those days, she used to make her credit card payments at Mervyn's and Kmart and go right up to the counter, open up her purse, pull out her checkbook, and there was a nice gift from me in there. Because I would be so mad at them. Head banging and severe temper tantrums, severe anxiety, immature and very hyperactive. Let's talk about hyperactive for a little bit. I meet a lot of hyperactive people, ADHD, all that stuff, right? You know what I tell them? You have such a special energy. You have a special energy. Don't let anybody tell you that that's wrong. We just have to channel it the right way. There's nature and nurture. I have 4 kids, 4 different personalities, 4 different energy levels. We just have to channel it. One of my friends makes $500,000 a year out of Orange County, California, and he's major ADHD and OCD, and sometimes he'll call me 3 times in a day. His name's Josh, and I'll answer the phone because I see the little ID. I go, oh my gosh, Josh. He goes, hey, Derek, what's going on? Da, 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 da. I'm all, dude, you just called me 20 minutes ago. I know, man, what's up? And we're talking $500,000 a year. He sells software. He must get them hyped up, and they just want to buy from him. I don't know. But I talked to his mom at a family party one day. I go, hey, Josh, has he always been? Yep, he came out of the womb like this, just ta, 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 ta. And all we did was we just channeled him in the right direction. And then it paid off for us. Fidgety, suspicious of people, has a fascination with knives and hurting others, must be physically restrained because he flies in the rages and is completely unmanageable. That would go to about 17 years old. Also a fascination of knives. If my foster parents made me mad or other people, I would try to get knives and I would try to shank you or stab you. And they would get they would like freak out. Derek's mad, get the knives, the butter knives, the steak knives, they would hide them. And my foster parents will tell you. I'd say, okay, I'll get you when you're not looking. And I'd come behind my mom or my dad, my foster mom and dad, make two fingers like this and surprise them and hit them in their neck real hard. Or I'd come up to my foster mom and say, Mom, can I get a hug? She goes, yeah. And I go right up to her and I go, bam, right into her belly. That happened till about 10, 11 years old. I had a fascination of knives, and then it went to a fascination of razor blades. Derek exhibited much fantasy and delusional behavior. He loses contact with reality frequently without warning. Poor visual perception, poor visual motor coordination. Never had any positive modeling figure. Has some psychosexual confusion. So at 6 years old, I don't even know that I'm a boy, which you'll find out. When Derek expresses his impulses, it is usually in terms of oral aggression, aggression in general, death or sex. Has thoughts of murdering his mother, and it went from murdering my mother to murdering other people. Terror of the neighborhood actually states in my records, terror of the neighborhood, which would follow me into other foster homes because I love to vandalize people's property when I got angry. People say, oh, foster parents do it for the money. And maybe some do, but my foster parents who had me, they took in me, a high-level kid, which means a higher paycheck. And they'll tell you I did more damage to their home and cars than they got paid each month sometimes. His severe emotionally disturbed state of mind interferes with his overall functioning. By the time Derek was a year old, he had pretty much withdrawn from reality. That's a pretty bold statement from somebody interviewing me at 6 years old over 18 hours, and they come up with this conclusion that he's been out of it since he was 1. Derek does not know his ABCs. At 6 years old, I don't know my ABCs. I can't identify them. My 3-year-old can do A through Z, identify them out of a book, all that stuff. I cannot count to 10 at 6 years old. At 6 years old. My vocabulary is very limited. My vocabulary is 60 words at 6 years old. Dr. Vandenberg, which is one of the godfathers of wraparound services, says that the national average for a 6-year-old in America is 2,600 words, but a sliding scale of 1,000 to 10,000 words for a 6-year-old. My main vocabulary was cuss words, I'm sorry, and nasty words. Verbal scale indicates below average general knowledge, logical thinking, and language development. I do not understand words like dog, cat, and boy. I have erratic psychosis. I have the IQ of a 2-year-old. I'm not adoptable based on the severity of my emotional problems. I'm here to tell you every kid is adoptable. Every kid deserves a family. Every kid deserves love. If an adequate foster home cannot be found for Derek, he will be sent to the psychiatric institution at 6 years old, which is Napa State Hospital, a very famous psychiatric hospital in California. Neurological and psychological tests indicate Derek is functioning on a 2-year-old level and that I have intellectual disabilities. I actually put the word intellectual disabilities in both my neurological and psychiatric evaluations. It says that I was mentally R. Plus attachment issues and all these things. And that's how I came prepackaged, labeled, and put into the foster care system. I went to a shelter for unadoptable kids called Snedeker Cottage. So you have the adoptable kid shelter and then the unadoptable kids. And we're at a shelter right behind Juvenile Hall, the youth detention center there. And 8 other foster homes that take high-level little kids don't want me. And I'm back at the shelter, and I got this new social worker. Her name's Cheryl. She's this cute blonde. She drives this green sports car. She takes me to the Oakland Zoo. She takes me to get ice cream. And I love seeing Cheryl. I would light up when I'd see Cheryl. And I'd say to Cheryl over the next year or so, Cheryl, I'm going to marry you one day. And she'd always go, oh, Derek. She never said no. She never ruined my dreams. But I love Cheryl, and Cheryl fought for me to get a home. And she knew that if she didn't get me a home, I was going to Napa State Hospital. And I've talked to workers at Napa State Hospital. They say, Derek, if you had come in as a kid, you would have been medicated, they would have found all these disorders, and you would have stayed there long term. Like that's where you would have stayed. But Cheryl decided to call this foster home. Well, they weren't looking to foster anymore. They were looking to adopt. Because being a foster parent sometimes is a grieving process. You love this kid, and then the kid leaves, and it takes part of your heart with them. And so they were tired of that roller coaster ride. So they looked at 3 little boys, and they were making their decision. And Cheryl calls them up and says, I got this cute kid. I know you don't want to foster, but I got this cute kid with a big personality. His dad's in prison. Mom doesn't want him. If you don't take him, he goes to Napa State Hospital. And they say, can we try him out for a weekend? They want to test drive me, right? They check me out for just a weekend, Friday through Sunday. And she goes, yes. So as we're driving, anybody who's been in foster care knows what I'm about to say. A new home creates new anxiety. And as we're driving, Cheryl's saying, Derek, please be good, okay? Please be good. I'm like, okay, Cheryl, but in the midst of all that, I'm getting a little frustrated. I'm wondering where I'm going to sleep in their house. Is it a bed bunk? Because I like the bottom bed bunk and not the top. Hopefully I don't have to bunk with anybody older, because sometimes older kids have done some bad stuff to me. What if I sit at the dinner table in someone's place? What if I don't like their food? I have my black plastic bag full of my little clothes. Will they have a toothbrush and a pillow for me, though? I'm scared of the dark till like 10 years old. Will they let me sleep with the lights on? So as we knock on the door, Cheryl and I, the door opens. And this guy goes, hi, Derek, how are you? And I didn't like happy people at that moment. And I backed off and I said, psh, how you know my name? How you know my name? How you know my name? And he goes, whoa, you have a little attitude. How you know my name? I was stuck on that. He goes, whoa, you have a little attitude. Why don't you run around? I go, run around? He goes, yeah, just run around. You got energy. Run around. And I'm like, I'll run away. He goes, run away then. Run that way, though. And I run. And they don't stop me. And I run off of this driveway onto this dirt path along a fence line. And I'm running. And all of a sudden, these dinosaurs come up to the fence. Horses. I've never seen a horse before. And then I get up to a barn. And I see a bunch of rabbits and rabbit hutches. I go behind the barn, more goats, pigs, horses, and then the king prize of them all, chickens in a chicken coop. And that whole weekend, you found me in one place, the chicken coop. If I can't trust any other humans, who can I trust? My own parents got rid of me. Who can I really trust? But you'd find me in that chicken coop, and the chickens would scatter, except this one chicken. She wasn't scared of me. She's doing this little chicken dance. She's like, and I sit my butt on the ground, and it's me eye to eye with her, and I'm going, and she's like, right? And we're talking, and we're totally communicating. It says I was withdrawn from reality, right? But I'm like, just totally communicating this chicken, and I love this chicken so much that I named her Wilbur. And I loved Wilbur with all of my heart. And at the end of that weekend, it was time for Cheryl, the social worker, to come get me. And I threw the biggest temper tantrum, cussing, out of control. And my foster mom says, Derek, we don't act like that here. Stand up. What? Stand up, Derek. We don't act like that here. So I stand up. She goes, what is it that you want, Derek? And I turn to Cheryl. I go, see, Cheryl, they don't even want me. Well, they heard that. And they talked to Cheryl for a little while. They said, can we keep him for a week? Can we keep trying him out? And she goes, yeah. And I loved it on that farm for that week. I loved it. Me and Wilbur and I. And at the end of that week, I knew it was time to go, and I got my black plastic bag full of my little clothes. And my foster mom comes down in my room and says, Derek, I have a surprise for you. And I said, do I get to take Wilbur with me? And she goes, no, you get to stay here a month. And a month turned into a year. And a year turned into years. They are my mom and dad. They never gave up on me. They never changed the locks on the front door when I was a crazy teenager. They did it for their own biological kids, though. But they never changed the locks for me. We still joke about that. But let me tell you how special both of my foster parents are. My dad's a second grade teacher. My mom as a juvenile hall youth detention teacher. So you know she didn't take nothing. But I want to show you the bond between a kid and a chicken. Look at that. Some of the best therapy I've had is chicken therapy. I love animals, and anyone who's gone through trauma, a lot of us love animals. You got to ask yourself this. What's the deeper issue when a child's behaving wrong, when it's out of control behavior? Their outside world may be a reflection of their inside worlds. Sometimes the behavior are a story that children may not be able to tell in any other way. We have to focus on connection, connection, connection. Like I said earlier, it's a lot easier to be angry at you than to tell you that I'm hurt. Connection, connection, connection. When I speak for the Federal Bureau of Prisons conference or speak for juvenile facilities, I'll ask them, when I'm speaking at a prison, how many times have you been in prison? 3 times, 5 times. They're doing the life on installment plan, basically, right? And so I asked them, who did you connect to growing up? Somebody may say their grandparent, but then their grandparent died. Mom and dad have been involved in drugs. Mom and dad there's a good chance that they have been in prison. 65% of this juvenile facility, they were in foster care. And 85% of their parents had been in jail before. And 85% of these kids were in prison for drugs, something drug-related. So I have this program called Connection versus Correction, Alliance versus Compliance. The jails and the juvenile facilities are full of repeat offenders. And what I realized one day is they've never really had a positive modeling example to connect to. Who they connect to is their pimp, their drug dealer, their boyfriend that made them do bad stuff in the name of love, manipulation, or whoever their crowd is. I can take a kid from your juvenile facility right now that's been in there for drugs and vandalism or whatever, and I can take him over to my place in San Francisco and let him run, and guess who he's going to find who he's attracted to again? You have to find a way to connect with them, to build a relationship of trust with them. Let me tell you, how you change a youth, this is brutally real, especially for me. How you change a youth is not just by consequences. Consequences rarely will change a youth that's gone through a lot of trauma. You know what changes youth? Relationships, connection. That's what changes youth. Some of these kids are literally one caring adult away from being a success story. They need somebody to be committed to them, to let them know that they belong, that you meet them where they're at, that you're not judgmental. If labels are hastily assigned as an explanation to a child's development and behavioral responses, he or she is at great risk of growing into that label and becoming the disorder itself. That's from my book, Disable the Label. Let me give an example. I was speaking at a big event in Kansas, 2,000 people. And the line was long of people that wanted to meet with me, and this guy comes up to me and says, Derek, can I just call you later? Can I get your card? And he calls me like 2 weeks later. And he says, I really enjoyed your keynote, but I got to tell you something. I got a 9-year-old daughter that's been hell the last 6 months. Okay. Well, we adopted her when she was a baby. And for 8.5 years, she's been awesome. But the last 6 months, it's been crazy. We're actually thinking of getting rid of her. And that ticked me off. And I'm like, you can't get rid of her. I'm not going to blow sunshine up you on this phone call and tell you, yeah, you made the right choice, get rid of her. And he's like, well, she's in therapy. She turns out she has all these issues, these disorders and labels, and we got her in this label, this disorder, this medication. I'm like, oh. But for 8.5 years, she's been awesome, right? He goes, yeah. I believe that I'm connected to a higher source that feeds me information. And while I was on this phone call, I was fed some information through my spirit. And I said to this guy, tell me the dynamics of your family. He goes, well, I've been married 18 years. I got a 17-year-old biological son and a 2-year-old biological son, and then obviously the 9-year-old adopted daughter. And I said to him boldly, watch your 17-year-old son. He goes, what's that mean? I go, I don't know, I'm supposed to tell you that. Watch your 17-year-old son. And he goes, well, what are you implying? I go, I'm not implying anything. I need you to watch your 17-year-old son. And he's getting upset at me. I go, dude, you called me. I'm not going to blow sunshine to you and tell you everything's great. Get rid of her. So he gets off the phone. I'm like, okay, move on. 2 months later, I get a phone call from a man crying on the other line. Is Derek Clark there? And I'm like, yes. And he goes, I don't know if you remember me, but I needed to call you. I was the one that was going to get rid of my 9-year-old daughter. I go, yeah. And he goes, my 17-year-old son was just arrested. He had been molesting her. And that's why she had been acting out. And you never know the threats that were given to her, that were made to her. I'll kill mom and dad. I'll kill little 2-year-old brother. I'll kill you, whatever. And she had to carry this. And the only way for her to communicate was through her behavior. And sometimes that behavior is the story. And we have to connect and build that relationship. You cannot think negative about a child and expect a positive outcome. I was one of those children and youth that a lot of people thought negative about, but there were a few people in my corner that believed in me, that kept planting seeds in me, seeds of hope, seeds of love, seeds of integrity, seeds of value, seeds of perseverance, seeds of hard work, effort, determination. Understanding your child, I want to go over a few things. The most popular phrases that parents say is, nothing works. They don't listen to me. And if you say that to a kid or a student that's gone through a lot in their life, guess what? We're winning. Because that's what we want to do. We want to push you. We want to test you. We want to lie to you. We want to trick you. So you don't ever say that out loud to them. And be careful when you do say it to a friend. Because if you're a parent, you know that kids listen through the walls. So you don't really ever say anything bad about a kid. We must change our attitude, and our behavior must reflect that. We have to focus on connection. You have to detach from your own feelings and become neutral, aware, and objective. Remember that you're the professional. And that if you're getting triggered in a classroom or triggered somewhere, you're getting triggered, that means you got some issues. I'm going to be brutally real here. You're the professional. You're the objective one. You're the neutral. If you're getting triggered, there's something inside of you that's not working right. Like you might need to go see a therapist so that you can deal with your issues. I see that with social workers. I see that with foster parents because some foster kids they become social workers. And guess what? Triggers all along social work. Some foster parents were once foster kids. So, you have to remember that you are the neutral one. That you have to ask yourself the question, how can I help this kid? There is something with this kid. It's not about you. It's about the kid. Children may adopt your positive or negative traits, so set the example. Remember that consequences don't always change youth. Relationships change youth. So I came up with a list of questions that you should ask yourself because the better the questions, the better the results. Am I understanding this child, or am I trying to change his or her behavior? You try to understand. Are you going to just put on the Band-Aid? Because a lot of you may see this where you're trying to change their behavior. Come on, Tommy, stop doing that. Stop. And guess what you say to Tommy 10 minutes later? Same thing again. It's like Groundhog Day, over and over again. Like, you've got to change your approach. Got to try to understand. What is triggering this child's behavior? Am I building a connection and a relationship of love and trust with this child right now? Can we fix the problem right now, or am I overreacting? Let me give you an example of overreacting. You and your husband or your spouse or your teenage daughter or son just got in a fight right before you leave for work. You're ticked off that they were disrespectful to you or said something, then you get in the car. Then you drive. Someone cuts you off. Got a little road rage now. You're mad at the world. You show up to the parking lot. You can't find a parking space really quick. You get there, you get in your classroom, and then there's Derek. Start your day off just right. You're already upset. There's something that's already, you're about to blow up, possibly on somebody. I can't take it today, Derek. You shouldn't be able to say that. Today, don't mess with me today, Derek. Blah, blah, blah. What you need to think about is before you get out of that car, I've learned some techniques I'll share with you. If you ever get a little stressed or overwhelmed. We're taught to count to 10 when you're angry. Just count to 10. Breathe. Count to 10. You know what that does? That makes you more angry. It does. It does. Count to 10, Derek. Count to 20. 1, 2, 3. It didn't work for me. So don't tell your youth that. Count to 10 and breathe. Relax. It doesn't work. What worked for me was counting backwards from 500. Because there's a part of your brain, when you count backwards, you use a different part of your brain than doing forward. Because we're conditioned forward. A through Z, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, everything's forward. You use a different part of your brain going backwards. So I even do Z, Y, X. And once you start going backwards on the alphabet or backwards in numbers, after a while, you're not even thinking because you're using a part of your brain that's like, well, what happens after 396, 395? What happens after Z, Y, X, W, right? And so you're using a different part of the brain, which during that time you should be breathing through your nose. And it seems to calm me down, and it seemed to calm a lot of people down. And when I breathe, some people say, breathe. Breathe through your nose, not through your mouth. Hold it. They say 8 seconds. You know what I do? I go extra. I give 110% effort. I hold it for like 10 to 12 seconds until I'm a little lightheaded. Because then that all of a sudden like resets the brain a little because I'm in survival mode. I gotta breathe. So you're not thinking about being what you're ticked off on. You're just thinking, breathe. So those are different ways that I've used to trigger to change my negatives into the positive thoughts. How well do you know your child? What type of personality does that child have? You'll be able to figure out pretty quick. How does that child deal with their emotional suffering? What triggers the child to engage in verbal and physical conflicts? What are the child's strengths, talents, and how can they be mobilized? And how can we improve the child's self-esteem? That is number one. How can we improve the child's self-esteem, especially those that have gone through trauma? Because we come into your classroom, we're beat up physically, emotionally, mentally. We don't even like ourselves. You could be that light in our dark world. You probably spend more time with that kid in that one period than the parents even give them attention in the whole day, or 2 days, or a week. Some people say to me, Derek, I spend quality time with my kids. Every night we spend about 15 minutes together. 15 minutes? Yeah. No, that's not quality time. Quantity of time is quality of time. It takes time to build that relationship. And I know personally, because I've sat down with parents whose kids have committed suicide. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know. I don't want to tell them, but how much time did you spend with your kid? Did you really get to know your kid? So, it's unfortunate. I came up with a list. I'm a list guy. So I came up with a list of what makes an unlikable teacher. Because usually it's the opposite. What makes a great teacher? Right? But I wanted to maybe sting you a little so you can rethink of how you're going to deal with these kids a little bit. And I've been raised by 2 teachers, so I kind of know. Doesn't listen, number 1. An unlikable teacher doesn't listen. You must listen to them. Build trust. That builds trust and loyalty. You don't dismiss their ideas. It's interesting in the word listen. The letters rearranged differently makes the word silent. How many of us silent our minds, or do we listen to reply? Some of the best conversations I've had with the youth that have gone through a lot is when I barely say anything at all. And they'll say, Mr. Clark, Rappin' Dad, that was a great conversation. Thank you so much. And I didn't really even say anything. Number 2, ego. Be humble and kind. Before I was a speaker, I owned a multi-million-dollar company. And I would always tell my employees, leave the ego at the door. We need innovation. We need creativity. Leave the ego at the door. Lack of empathy. Understand the problems that are facing the children and care. Being part of the negativity. Don't spread gossip or harm the child's morale. Not a good communicator. Focus on resolving the situation. Seek solutions and new strategies. Research has shown in communication that 7% of communication is words. 38% of communication is tone. 55% of communication is body language. So I learned early on in my marriage, when my wife would complain to me, I would try to fix it. I'd try to fix it. Well, have you thought about this? Why don't you do this? Well, here, I can do this. And guess what? My wife, after a while, said, I don't need you to fix me. I'm an adult. I know how to fix it. I just need you to listen, to bouncing. You're my best friend. So, I tried a few different listening techniques when my wife talked to me. One of them was like this. Are you done yet? Oh, gosh. Another technique was, whew, we're almost done, right? And you pace them back and forth. Another technique was this. I'm listening. That's not listening. Listening is being compassionate, being empathetic, not trying to fix it, not trying to offer solutions. Listening. And then if I want to offer something, I say, do you want to know, want my opinion on anything? And she usually says, nope. But I learned, and now I have a 23-year marriage still doing good. But listening, right? Blaming others makes an unlikable teacher. You are responsible for your actions and your reactions. Put energy towards solutions. Creating fear and worry. Does not praise or encourage. Do not unpack and live in the negative. Praise the positive as well. Speaks unkindly to the student. Disrespects them. A lack of integrity. A lot of children get let down. You have to follow through with what you say. So I came up with a list what makes a super teacher. Likes being a teacher. Confident in your ability. Has a vision for the kids, puts the child's needs first, creates a compassionate, encouraging, and stable environment, expands their knowledge about trauma. If you know better, you'll do better. Doesn't trash talk. Works together with the parents to help the child, cooperates and seeks solutions, and has a great patience muscle. See, I tell youth, I tell adults all the time that we are so focused on working out at the gyms. We go for an hour working on the gym, working on these muscles. But a lot of us forget about the inner fitness, the inner muscles. Your determination muscle, your integrity muscle, your patience muscle, your perseverance muscle, your never give up muscle. All these muscles. If you can get your inside world together, your outside world will be much better. Helps the child discover who they are, communicates effectively, helps the child get involved in community programs. The key for these youth is not to allow them to be selfish, but to be selfless. I have seen youth turn their lives around once they became mentors at YMCA or at their seniors, and they're mentoring the freshmen, or they're working in the community, something to give back. Contribution is one of the biggest things you can do in this world. Is optimistic, has a sense of humor, and keeps the child's information confidential. So, meet Derek Clark, freshman in high school. My parents put me in a brand new school district. I have been suspended over and over again. I have been bullied. It's very sad. I've been bullied through elementary school, junior high. You wouldn't think it looking at me. But I had over 100 warts on my hands. And those warts went to my mouth here on the side. And people would scream at me and push me and call me the wart man and knock my front tooth out in school. And then what happens is sometimes that bully has enough. I'm not the bully, the one that's being bullied sometimes has had enough. And then we become very violent and aggressive. And that's what I became. I wasn't going to take anybody's crap. So my parents put me in a brand new school to give me a clean slate, which is awesome. Everybody wants a clean slate. If you ask all these children in alternative schools and this and that, you want a clean slate? Yeah, that'll be great, Mr. Clark. Yeah, but the problem is if you don't change your habits, nothing changes. So you can put me in a new school and nothing's going to change if I haven't changed my habits. So I'm at this new school called Hayward High. You can YouTube my high school, Hayward High Riots. And you'll see several hundred African American against Hispanics, Samoan against Tongan, Filipinos against this, Asians against this, and I'm this white boy in this school. And you know what takes me in? Who takes me in are the skater punks. I'm a loner. So they initiate me by not jumping me in. There's a lot of gang culture over there, but they don't jump me in. They cut my hair. So I sit down in the garage, and the leader comes out with these clippers and shaves my head to the skin. Except from right here to right here, he leaves a little crown, bangs, dyed orange. It doesn't look good. I'm all, dude, just shave my head. I'll just be skinhead. Just shave it all off. He goes, no. He goes in the house, comes back. The leader comes back and has this blue stuff, works it in his hands, and starts going. He goes, now look. And I look in the mirror, and I got these big orange horns on this shaved head. And it was awesome. And I went home. My mom always said I was the devil. That's what I said. My mom says I'm the devil. I went home to the nice Christian family on the farm. And my dad goes, Derek, those horns have got to go. And I'm like, Dad, this is who I am. I'm a reject. I'm a misfit. He goes, no, Derek, those horns have got to go. So he made me shave them, and here's what I look like a little bit later. Bam! Now I'm on the schoolyard hanging out with my best friend, Arlen Green, AG we call him, his initials. African-American kid. Me and him are brothers. We tell everybody in school we're brothers, and it always trips people out. How are you brothers? And I'm like, because we're brothers. And then he goes, yeah, because we're in foster care. Now, Arlen was never in foster care. Arlen had a great family. I would go over to Mr. and Mrs. Green's house, and they would feed me, and they loved on me. They liked me. Race wasn't an issue. They just liked me. And so me and Arlen hanging out in the schoolyard, and we see a bunch of people over there going, hoo, 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 in the corner at school. And I go, dude, there's a fight, Arlen, let's go get in a fight, because I love to fight. I love to disrespect authority. At this time, right now, I have been arrested for vandalizing police cars in the police parking lot. I snuck in. I had first started vandalizing. My dad was taking care of a fix-it ticket, and I was bored, so I just started letting air out of tires all over these cars in the police parking lot, outside the police, where the police cars are, and then I saw a gate open, and I snuck in there. I started doing damage to the police cars, and it was like a movie. The back door of the police station opens, and people run after me. It was a couple police officers, and I run, and the gate had closed, and they have like inverted barbed wire, and I could not climb out, and we're playing round around the police car, and they catch me, and I tell them, I remember the first words I said, how'd you know, man? How'd you know? And the police officer said, the cameras, right? And so I just been making poor choices, and I'm on the schoolyard, and Arlen says, that's not a fight, dude. They're doing battles. And I'm like, battles? What do you mean battles? He goes, rap. And I'm like, psh, rap, crap. I don't listen to rap. I listen to skater death punk crazy music about killing myself. But something inside says, Derek, go check it out. Arlen, come with me. And I walk over there, and I see something that changes my life forever. I see two guys battling each other, talking about their moms. They're cussing at each other. They're going crazy on each other. And I turn to Arlen, and I go, dude, I want to be a rapper. He goes, nah, D, you white. You can't do that. And I'm like, dude, I want to be a rapper. He goes, nah, D, you got no rhythm. It's true. You see me at high school dances. I got no rhythm. And I knew without a shadow of a doubt that I did not want to be a skater anymore. I had so much bitterness, so much resentment, so much hatred inside of me. I'm like, maybe I could be a rapper because these fists were always getting me in trouble. I go, let me battle somebody. They go, get out of here. And my reputation at the school was now called C-Dub, which is short for CWB, which means crazy white boy. And C-Dub, get out of here. Get out of here, man. You can't rap. And I go, I want to rap. I want to battle somebody, or let's get in a fight. I'm juiced up. I want to battle somebody. They go, okay, you can battle this guy. So it's me against this guy, V-Dog, Vince. And he starts going off on me, talking about my mom, my race, cussing at me, all things he's do to my girlfriend. And I'm like, dude, I turn to Arlen, this guy is so cool. And Arlen goes like this, dude, stay hard. You're supposed to look hard. Because when you're in a battle, you're not supposed to be going, oh, that was a good one, dude. That was a good one. Like, it's insults that you're clowning on each other. And it was my turn. I step up to him, and I'm a tall guy. I leaned over. I go, I'm about to unleash the dragon on you right now. He goes, a dragon? I don't know where that came from, but it was my turn. And, of course, I started with my favorite phrase, the bad word, and I couldn't find another cool phrase to go with it, and I sucked. I lasted about 3 seconds, and I sucked. And people were like, C-Dub, you suck. You whacked. And I go, hey, don't call me C-Dub anymore. Call me Rip and D. No, Rip and D, you whacked. And the girls would say, Rip and D, you whacked. I'd go down A Hall, B Hall, C Hall at Hayward High, and the girls would be like, Rip and D, you whacked. I didn't care. I believed I was the GOAT, greatest of all time. I had invincibility right now. I had credibility. I was a rapper. Rip and D. What is rap? Poetry in motion. We call it flowetry. And what is rap to me? Rap is the master key to the master lock on the self-imprisonment I have down here. To get all the pain out. I started writing all the pain in my past, creatively writing, getting it out, learning to rhyme, syncopate, all this stuff. And Rip and D was coming up. I was trying to come up. I was battle rapping people. And about a year later, I realized I had a gift. With my tongue, it moved quick. And I'm thinking, what if I could syncopate really well and do triplets? And then my friend turned me on to some reggae music, gave me a reggae mixtape, which was Bob Marley, Ziggy Marley, Lucky Dube, Yellow Man, Peter Tosh, and I started vibing out on reggae music. And I'm thinking, what if I could mix reggae with rap? So in one of my battles, I did something like this. Well, I'll be the ripping, I'm thinking, I'm making, taking my time. I'll be the thinking, I'm making, the sucking, I'm making, the kicking it with the rhyme. And then I switch it reggae. Here's some man that want to feel, thinking, I'm making, the sucking, I'm making, the kicking it with the deals. I'm about to feel like nothing is impossible. Thank you. And then everything changed. Everything changed. All of a sudden, those girls were like, that white boy is fine. And everything changed. So I had been thinking of a new name that nobody could clown, nobody could tear apart. From Rip and D, I became Mr. Diamond D. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Bam! Those overalls are coming back in style. Watch. A little inside secret here. You see that Gucci shirt doesn't even pass really my elbows. It didn't even fit me. It was my foster sister's Gucci shirt from a thrift store. And it doesn't even fit me, but I wanted to wear Gucci. But during this time, a lot of stuff's going on. My sister's been shot and killed at 16. When I was 16, my brother's been killed, and my good friend's been shot and killed. all within a year. And what helped me was the rap game. What helped me was getting the pain of my presence and my present moment and my past. And I want to share a rap with you. You want to hear it? Okay. I took out all the bad words. But this was written when I was just a young kid trying to do something with his life, trying to get a record deal. And it's interesting that your youth, one of their favorite rappers, if not their favorite, is this guy called Eminem. And I was just recently in Detroit, and I know I'm in Eminem's territory. I went down to 8 Mile Road from the movie and Guevara and all this stuff, and I go, now I ain't Eminem. I'm Diamond T. So, we're about to throw it down. Hold on. I better get in my beast mode. So, who would have thought years later that something from my past where I'm rapping to my kids in the car would take off, where I'm just doing a little freestyle, and all of a sudden Shaquille O'Neal tweets me, "What's MC Soccer Dad?" Then I'm on like all these TV shows, and I wasn't cool to my teenagers. I mean, I've had 200 and something million views. I mean, I'm cool to my teenagers, but I wasn't the coolest. Their friends all thought I was cool. But I wasn't cool until a few months ago. My teenage sons run up to my room, quickly up the stairs, and go, Dad, you're on World Star. You're on World Star Hip Hop. Which, for social media, your youth, a lot of them love World Star Hip Hop and hood clips. And I've been on World Star twice. And it's a crazy social media thing about, showing the fights in your schools to all these other things. And so it's major youth related. I said, hey, you shouldn't be watching World Star. That's what I told them. I don't want you to be watching World Star. But it was crazy because the amount of people that liked my video and said nice things about this dad was amazing. Usually it's a lot of bad comments, but 95% of the comments were, this dad's awesome and look how he connects to his kids. So I'm not my kids' friends, they'll tell you. I'm not their friend. I'm a fun, fair, firm dad. But I'm going to share with you this rap. Here we go. Let me drink a little. I know I'm running out of time. Sorry, I'll finish on this, though. Here we go.
Everybody runs from the pain.
Yeah. Can you turn up this monitor, please?
Never give up. And everybody runs from the pain, 'cause it
Thank you.
never give up.
Every day's a struggle. If I could change my past, I'll be staying out of trouble and I know it lasts. This is my life. Turn it up, please. Yeah, who's gonna win? Who's gonna lose? I never thought I'd be wearing these shoes of life. Man, it don't feel right. When am I gonna see the light and feel the light? Walk with me, someone walk with me. Come on, Dad, yeah, just talk to me. Have you ever thought about me in your life? Why'd you want to kill me and take away my life? I'm your blood dad, I'm his son dad. Yeah, it's messed up knowing that I never knew my dad who didn't want to be a dad. What's up with that? Don't understand, but yo, I gotta move past. Hey, daddy, hey, where you been? In the jail cell, yeah, once again. You ain't never seen me smile, never seen me walk, never seen me talk, never seen me rock this microphone. Yeah, this is my home, let me out of my pain, cause I know I'm not alone. Yeah, these are my peeps and I'm telling how I feel. This is no secret and I'm keeping it real now, mama. Why'd you have to run away? Why'd you leave me alone? Why'd you have to make me pay for my daddy's sins and daddy's eyes? Daddy's pain and daddy's lies. No, I'm on the outside, yeah, looking inside. I'ma bust this curse even if I gotta die. Never give up now. And everybody runs from the pain 'cause it hurts. Never give up. Everyone loses something sometime. I never thought I'd have to lose my mind, yeah, lose my world and lose my soul. lose the ones who really gave me hope. Now my sister's been killed and my brother's been killed and my friend's been killed. When am I gonna heal? And the snap of a finger and my life gets jacked in my brain. I'm thinking I'm gonna start to feel trapped where the love was. Yeah, hate begins. Now I'm mad at the world cause the pain won't end. I'll cover up the hurt, cover up the shame. I'm caught in the middle of a hurricane of pain. So pain, pain, show me what you got. Now I'm never gonna let anyone back in my heart till my wrists start to bleed. Don't feel the need of living this life. Will someone help me? Man, I need you. Say a prayer for me. Yeah, let me believe that you believe in me. Yeah, let me believe that you believe in me. Yeah, let me believe that you believe in me. Yeah, this is my life. This is my story. But with people like you, I turn my story into glory. Because nobody could destroy me. The only one destroying me was me. And when I learned that I had self-value, nobody could destroy me. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Wow, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're awesome. Thank you. Woo! Thank you. This little kid who was thrown away grew up to write 7 books, grew up to speak to from the bottom of the earth to the top of the earth. You never know the impact you'll make on a child, but maybe you'll know years later, and we'll send you a Facebook message or something like that and let you know that you were the one that told me don't give up when everybody said you're a piece of crap, you're not worth it, and they throw gasoline on your fire, basically. This little kid thrown away. Don't ever doubt yourself. Doubt your doubts. Believe in your ability. Believe that you can plant those seeds, seeds of hope, seeds of love, seeds of integrity. I have to show you real quick. I'm so sorry. I know we ran a little late, but I want to show you. That is my high school transcript, ladies and gentlemen. My GPA was 1.67, 1.7, 1.9, 2.08, 1.94, 1.67, 2.07, 2.06. My highest GPA because I had a girlfriend that did some of my schoolwork. I guess she wasn't that smart either. But listen, I want to show that this is proof that sometimes it's not about academic ability. It's about academic availability. And when I'm in survival mode, I'm in fight or flight mode. There's a certain part of the brain that just, you know, when you go through trauma, it rewires your brain. 60% of us in foster care don't even graduate high school. 74% of the male prison inmates in California have been in foster care. 80% of the Texas death row inmates have been in foster care. 65% of the sex trafficking in America are from young boys and girls in foster care. 51% of the U.S. homeless population are from aged out foster kids when we turn 18. So statistics show that I should not be here today, that I should be an addict, incarcerated, dead, prostitution, a drug runner, whatever. But being raised by 2 teachers changed my life. As teachers, I remember them saying something to this effect that, are you a teacher that has power over your students, or are you a teacher that empowers your students? Remember, ladies and gentlemen, it's not about your IQ. It's about your I will. It's not about how much smarts you have. It's about how much heart you have. I know a lot of people that got a lot of high degrees that just can't function in real life. They got a lot of issues. That's not to say everybody, but you can't hold everybody to that high level there and expect them to get there. That a lot of us are going to be at this level. Some people are going to be at this level, but the ones that have gone through trauma, we're just glad to graduate high school. I'm the first one in my family to even graduate high school. My mom dropped out in 9th. My dad didn't finish. So I'm the first one to break the cycle in my family. Yeah, my GPAs are low, but GPAs don't make who you are. They don't define you. So if my English teachers could see me now, writing all these books. Now, sure, I hire an editor too, but I at least write, right? So don't ever give up on a kid. My social media is Rapping Dad, RAPPINGDAD. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram. My website is iwillnevergiveup.com or rappingdad.com. Here's what I want to do for you. I get a ton of messages on my social media. You'll see my blue verification checkmark celebrity thing or whatever, but I'm going to give you a code. Put lacrosse or Wisconsin as the first word before you ever send me a message. Because when I look down my messages, I scan and I can only see the first 5 words or so of the message. But if you put like, "Hi Derek, it was great to see you," you may not get answered for quite a while. But if you put the code word lacrosse or Wisconsin, I'll get to you within a few days probably. And so when your youth come in, tell them that you met Rappin' Dad. Go to my website. Go to my Facebook. It's all clean. Nothing controversial. And let them watch videos, especially the ones that have gone through a lot that you can tell. And that is a way to connect with them. Check out this guy. I met this guy. You want to send him a message? Let's send him a message and see what he says. And I will do that for you. These youth need positive modeling examples. And to be honest with you, these youth want to be famous, a lot of them. And they think YouTube is the way of everything. And if they reach out to someone like me, they're going to be like, 250 million views on all videos and this, wow, blah, blah, blah. I will respond back. Because for some reason, they're just like been conditioned. Oh, fame, fame. Oh, we're talking to someone famous. Fame and money only magnify who you are. So I am healed now. I went through some special therapy, but I was able to now be a father and be a husband and have gone through so much. I would not be able to be up here if I was not healed. I live a very blessed life. What I thought was once a curse is now one of my greatest blessings of my strength. And I have to make sure, as I relay this message to you, that I am making sure that I'm passing on generational blessings to my own kids and not generational curses. And make sure that you are doing the same. If you know better, you'll do better. I'm going to close on my favorite poem that I wrote. It brings it all together. So here's a few lessons that I've learned. I've turned a mess into a message and earned a return. I've turned scars into stars, lived like avatars. No one can stop you if you believe in your heart. And this is your life. Go and own it. Never let the past infect your future for a moment. Never let a weakness destroy your greatness. It's time to profess you're too blessed to be stressed. Bam! You could be everything you want to be. But never let the inner me be your enemy. It's time to be better and not bitter. It's a choice to be a winner, and it's a choice to be a quitter. So if you've been knocked down or thought about suicide, get out of the shadows and hold your head high, because this is your sign and this is your time. Get up and climb. You were born for this moment to shine. My name's Derek Clark. Thank you very much for having me out in Wisconsin. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.